On social media platforms today, quality content often goes unnoticed. On Den, users get paid for the creation, evaluation, and curation of quality content. Content creators are rewarded based upon the engagement and reach of their post or comment. Content evaluators are rewarded based upon the speed and results of their predictions about which content will trend or go viral. Community owners are rewarded based on engagement within their community. On Den, quality content pays.
Guten Tag, y'all. Welcome to this week's DENDAO governance call. So we do this every week on Thursdays at 3 p.m. Eastern or noon Pacific, and it's open to any denizen who wants to join the governance call and talk about the things that are happening and are going to happen. And today we're going to go over, actually, let me go ahead and timestamp. Since it's a meeting, I'll try to be official here. It is October 20th, 2022. So this is the October 20th meeting. All right, so we're going to go over the LCP. We have results in for that, which is cool. We're going to go over two different DENDAO proposals. I know at least one of them has been approved already by the DAO. And we have our Million Matter Minting Madness Milestone Mayhem event today. So we're going to talk about some Matter merch and probably use the letter M to begin a bunch of words so they sound the same. Let's see. And then we've got, of course, there's time for community feedback and input if we missed something that's going on. So there's a link over in the DENDAO layer in the, in the agenda that's on screen, that link to join. If you want to pop in and join, just leave us a message in private chat to let us know what you want to talk about. And we'll bring you up probably during the, towards the community input section. Otherwise, I'll keep an eye on chat. And you can leave a message there or in the reply section to the DENDAO post. Hyperion Frequency. Hey, good afternoon, bro. Thanks again for joining. Yeah, let's get on with it. Greg, we've got Greg with us.
Hey.
Who, fellow denizen and who you may know from the World Blockchain Roundtable show, which this is right on the heels of every week. So October LCP results, those are in. We've got 3 new layers and I think they're great. We've got, I know there's upcoming crypto projects, which won the #1 slot by the unique voters category. So that'll be going in. Maybe we can do something like, somebody told me that the, what's the one? Bitcoin Talk. The Bitcoin Talk threads are not as much of a thing anymore. So maybe that means there's room for the new Bitcoin Talk and the upcoming crypto projects. That'd be great. And then the other category was lore committed. So the number 5 and the number 13 ranked is who wins that. And that went out to the Bitcoin layer and the Minecraft layer. So actually, yeah, that's great. I love both of those things. Haven't played Minecraft in a while, but I'm looking forward to that. And as you know, maybe not, I'm a huge Bitcoiner. I like to think of myself as a most-minimalist. All right, so those are who won. Congratulations to everyone who, let's see, MB Crypto proposed the layer for upcoming projects. Barbara Feek proposed the one for Bitcoin, and then Wolofafel proposed Minecraft. Thank you for that. Those proposers will get an additional 10,000 lot on top of whatever they committed. Just so you can, I think in the past, there was a situation where people that may have proposed them didn't put any lore in or something. So this is on top of whatever you would have committed. So awesome. The next thing is we've got a couple of proposals for DENDAO. So one of them is manual changes to the the stuff we've been talking about for a few weeks. We've been doing some design and conceptual, how should it workness. And so now we have it to where we have some things to do and we want to do them manually before we roll them into the automated evaluator reputation system that has been proposed and approved by DENDAO. So this is just it's just sort of a notification and like last temperature check to be like, hey, we got it together. We're going to start doing it manually before we roll it out as something that like all the layer owners can use for themselves in their individual communities. So I'm excited about that. I'm looking forward to seeing the results of that because I want the payout system to be as fair as possible for everyone. And it's going to include like Hyperion Frequency and I Am for I Am and Greg and DENDAO and some other people have all had really good feedback and quality input on what that should maybe look like and how that can best be designed. So thanks to everyone for doing that. Now,
cheers.
Now we do it. Yeah. So the other one, so that's approved. Cool. So that'll start just happening. And then the other one was add search by engagement to the DENDAO priorities list. So the priorities vote currently is on the leaderboard option. That was paused because of what we've been working on recently with the previous proposal we talked about. But we'll roll back into that as soon as that's complete. And we can we have this proposal, I think was brought up, well, by a couple of people, but I remember T Swift or Die talking about it specifically because he was telling me that he was looking for example, like where are conversations happening so that I can get some context for some jokes I want to write, basically. And it was a really good idea, I thought, to just have almost like a, just like, I don't know if it should be like how to refer to it, but basically a way to search by activity. So go vote for that. See if you want to add that into the priorities list or not. It's over in the governance section. Let's see. Cool Joe, stuff. Hey, welcome.
The link finally worked, so we're good. Yeah. No worries. That's great.
Cool. Yeah. So we just went over the October results, and so now we just got through the 2 DENDAO proposals that are the one that resolved that's approved, which is that we can go ahead and implement things manually to make sure they work the way we think they're going to work before rolling them out, and then this one that's on screen. So boom, you're caught up. Cool. Right. So
okay.
We've mentioned in the I don't know what it was. Was it? Oh, it was Tuesday. I mentioned that we're doing something for the Million Matter Mint. And so we'll give some details on that right about now. This week was our millionth matter minted. So we went from the 900,000 range into the 1 million range. So that's cool. It doesn't happen very often. I think Hyperion Frequency said it happens he did the math and it was something like 2 years and 9 months that it takes for that to happen or something like that. So yeah, it's a good milestone.
Yep. Congrats, guys. Congrats to everybody here, really.
Yeah, thanks. Totally. Yeah, that's awesome. And there was no Matter merch on the merch store. So there is now. There's some Matter merch to kind of celebrate the Million Matter Mint. And you can go find that on dragonchain.store. There's different colors. There's options where the logo is in the middle. There's options where the logo's on the shirt pocket location. There's even a hoodie that I was really picky about and made sure that we had one that didn't have the circle around it, just like the way it is on Etherscan. And so that's an option too. I think that's the one that I'll be getting. And they're embroidered. They're not just like printed on or whatever. They're like sewn, embroidered with thread and stuff. Looks really good. Cool. I'm in Florida and just got into cold weather, so I'm able to wear hoodies for a little while. I don't know. I was rocking the Metal JoJo. It's the one I'm rocking right now. Whenever I walk the dog in the neighborhood and stuff. Nice. So yeah. So check that out. I'm not sure if we have any coupon codes this week on that or not. But if
Watch Super Happy.
If we do, they'll flash on the screen right now. And if we don't, they won't. All right. So with that, we said we're going to give away some prizes and stuff. Here's what we've done. Joe, do you want to talk about that? You want me to go through it?
No, you can probably explain it better because I had it in my head wrong, so I'd probably mis-explain it.
Cool. And there's your coupon code. So use million-MTR whenever you go buy one of the Matter merchandises.
Million Matter merch.
Yeah. And you get a discount.
It was DragonChain.store is the other.
At DragonChain.store. Yep. At millionmattermerch.store. No, at DragonChain.store. Those are cool. I'm totally going to get that one though. Like I said, because I even had to like edit it to make it the one I wanted. So if I did that and I was that picky about it, I should probably buy one.
We'll have to do something also with lot probably at some point. I don't know what's the total lot that there is. I don't even know.
Oh, I haven't run that number. I don't know. We'll have to look and see. Oh yeah, welcome to the meeting. I am for Am. No worries. I was just singing your praises about helping us figure stuff out. So you are accounted for. So yeah, we got that merch. So we're also going to give away a total of 2,000 matter and a total of 2 million lore. And we were trying to figure out how to do that. That's most like awesome and fair and interesting and accounting for people that have been like really like using the tools and making sure things work for us and posting content and being ambassadors of Den and sharing content outside of Den to get people to look at it and stuff like that. So here's what we came up with. We've got 2 different categories that we were able to go in. And as you know, or may not know, I don't know, you'll know in a second when I say it. The way that Den works, everything that's done on Den is on chain. And what that means is you can prove that it happened without any doubts. And you can prove when it happened and all that stuff. And you can search it like any other database. You can search it and pull data and metrics from that to get winners for this contest. So what we did was we went through 2 things. We went through, number 1, everybody in the last quarter since July 1st who has participated in the DENDAO governance. So you just voting on, basically just voting on the things that DENDAO has needed feedback or input from the community on. We went through and just accounted for everybody who had voted. And I don't want to make it too confusing. So that's one category. And the other category is we went to see who's been sharing content from Den with their reference links. If you're logged into Den and you hit the share button on any piece of content or reply or whatever, what it'll do is it'll give you a URL. It'll copy a link to your, what do you call that, clipboard. And then we can share that somewhere outside of Den or whatever. And when somebody clicks on it, Den knows that you're the one that shared that content, that your account is the one that shared that content. That's what the reference code is for, right? So we went from July 1st over the last quarter, and we said, all right, who's been doing that? Who's been sharing content from Den? And we got a list of accounts. So those are the 2 categories where we're awarding the tokens. So how are we going to hand them out? We have the 2,000 matter, I said, and that's 1,000 for each category, and the same with lore. 2 million lore, 1 million for each category. So on the DENDAO side, we're taking everybody who's voted on DENDAO gets awarded a portion of that 1 million lore. And the more times that you voted in the last quarter gets you more of that lore, right? Proportionally. And then with the matter, we take the top 5 voters or participants, right? So the top 5 participants in the DENDAO voting this quarter get to split that 1,000 matter. So that's going to be 200 matter each. All right. So we have, I'll go ahead and now announce the winners of that today. And then other side, which was the reference links, right? If you're sharing content, we want to know basically who's our ambassadors, who's spreading the good word about Den, who's getting people to look at the content here. And that ended up being about 200, maybe 202, but about 200 denizens showed up on that list in the last quarter, which is fantastic. That's super cool. So 200 unique accounts have been sharing stuff from Den. and getting those reference clickbacks. And all of those, similar to the last category I talked about, all of those will split 1 million lore based on how many of those clickbacks that you've gotten. And you're also going to have the top 10, I think, right? Top 10, yes, are going to split the 1,000 matter that's in that category. So you'll all get 100 matter each for the top 10 referrers to people that are clicking back to Den. So I'm not going to go through the 200 different accounts and announce who won the lore split, but I will go through the top 10 and the top 5 from each category.
And we should say all Team Den or Dragon Chain team people were not
good point.
were disallowed or not.
I'm not in there. Yeah, we scrubbed me from there. You, the team.
Although I would like to know where I ranked, but that's a different.
I don't know. I actually pulled the data. I got one of the devs to help me make sure I got the query correct and all that stuff. And we specifically just didn't include your name at all. So I got no numbers on you. Maybe we can go back and do one with the 2 minute just for funsies, just for us, just to be like, all right, how do we stack up?
Yeah, we should have an internal competition.
Yeah.
Who gets an extra couple of days off or something?
Yeah. So sorry if I started my way through that explanation, but basically that's what we're giving it out to. So let's do the top 5 for governance, and then we'll do the top 10 for reference clickbacks, right? So governance, we have the top 5 participants in DENDAO who will each split 1,000 matter. So each of these denizens will get 200 matter as a reward for participating in governance, which is exactly what we need. And I believe it was a tie. I think they all might have done it the same number of times. But if not, the top 5 is this anyway. So we have Jared. We have Josh O. We have Y'all Weird, Jacob Wayne, and Alksons, which is great. Jared, Y'all Weird, Josh O, Alksons, Jacob Wayne. They're all going to get 200 matter each for helping us out with the governance of the site and steering the ship and making sure feedback and input is given to make sure that, things that maybe we might not have thought about or accounted for and all that. Super important. And I'm, in the past, we've talked about incentivizing governance anyway, so I'm glad we can start doing something as far as giving out some rewards for that. Overall, there were, let's see. Okay, let's go to the clickbacks, because I'm not going to go through, especially the clickbacks, I'm not going to go through the lore section because it's like 200 people. But the top 10 who are going to split 1,000 matter on the clickbacks, which is the word I came up for. I don't know what else to call it. The reference, the Den share references, referral codes. The top 10 who will get 100 matter each are Unicorn, Anase Nin, Dusko Bugud. I don't know if it's Dusko Baghdad or Dusko Brigade or Dusko BGD is in that list. GPS Crypto, Akaspin, Rambo 3, Vumalo, Mladezi, Strax, and Deki. So I'll go through this again. Unicorn, Anais Nin, Dusko Brigade, GPS Crypto, Akaspin, Rambo 3, Vumilo, Mladezi, Strax, and Deki. Awesome. That's our top 10 people that have been sharing and getting clickbacks on Den.Social. I know there's a lot more. You'll get the lore. If you had any at all, you'll get a proportional amount of lore awarded as well. So that'll be next week. We'll actually do the distribution of that. But all the numbers have been collected. So we've got the snapshot. We know what it's going to do. And we'll get them out. We'll get them out to you next week. So we'll probably just mention when that happens and tell people to go check their accounts at that time. All right. Hyperion Frequency says, I didn't make it. You didn't make the matter side, but you made the lore side. I know that you're in there. I've seen it. So thank you. All right. So that is, what else? Cool. That's most of what I got for today. What y'all think? As far as if anybody has anything they want to talk about outside of the agenda and stuff, This would be the community feedback section. And then, I don't know, Joe, Greg, what do you think? Do you want to talk about anything about like on top of what we've already said about the DENDAO stuff or the algorithm? I know there's been some questions of like, here's one thing is there's been some questions basically that are like, when is this going to go into place? Right. Yeah. Okay. We said we're going to do it.
Yeah.
We said we're going to do the eval rep. Right. We have the most recent one, which is let's do it manually, you know, to make sure it works the way we think that it's going to work before rolling it out in the automated fashion. And so I would say like starting now-ish, right, is the testing phase. Yeah.
But then, and I don't know if it'll be. I don't know what the devs, if you've talked to them or not yet about that, but that just passed yesterday, or was it the day before?
Yes,
so,
yesterday.
My assumption is we'll start things next week as well, where we can say, okay, let's look at this one component of that eval and put something in manually to test it out for sure. But I think more than anything, to attempt to address the issue that people are seeing, right? And hopefully it works. And then we can test this another component the same way. And depending upon what that data is, we might test them independently or we might test them in combination. You know, it's going to be kind of, but the point is, this is going to be the faster way to get it done and to get it right, because we can actually see results. And depending upon how much time we have to analyze it, I mean, you know, we'll have results that after the next period. So as soon as one of those is marked up, then we'll know how it affected the matter mining, and specifically with some of the people that have been seeing whatever you would call brigading or
people have seen some negative impacts of what's going on there. And I want, that's important to me too. I want to see as soon as possible to make it more fair, to make it more reasonable across the board. And we mentioned it once before in one of the past 3 DENDAO calls, but the idea of changing one thing to where negative energy on one post doesn't impact otherwise positive results on a different post, right?
Right. Exactly.
So we'll be doing a couple of things that are all related to the same thing to make sure that different angles of the same problem or the same situation are addressed, right?
Yeah, so, I think that one might not be too hard to get out quickly, because it literally would be a wrapping one part of the metrics when that happens, that we just need to put a floor on it of 0 so that it can't go negative, and then you know it just kills that post value for that day. But because it's a lot better of a situation. Like if you're going to zero out the value of something, let's keep it to, and that wasn't an issue. Like it was intentional, like you said in the beginning. But when we did that change where we brought in the absolute energy accounting, that's where we started to see like, okay, this is a possibility now because of how this works. Before it didn't matter. And then the other side of it is some of the aspects where, we talked about this eval rep concept and the fact that I think a lot of people agreed that we should apply the eval rep in some capacity to your lot-based matter mining. So, you effectively have to participate in a layer with evaluation in order to mine matter with the lot you hold. So I think that was agreed to. And I think the other angle is
that's really useful too. Yeah. Yeah.
And the other angle is filtering, right? Which the governance side, where you can say if you don't have a certain rep, you can't vote in this layer, that type of thing.
but it would be an eval rep and not a content rep. So it'd be more properly aligned. The other bit is the potential, which we might get some data that we can use to decide to include this or not, but it would essentially say certain actions may diminish your evaluation weight, so that it effectively would take, and it could be something as, I don't know, that there's so many angles and edge cases, it's hard to say, but if you have people voting in blocks, that effectively will attenuate the value of voting in blocks, right?
Yeah.
So
there's some way more complex stuff that we've fielded too, just as ideas for the future. But there's some really simple things too that we can do starting next week. One of them is the isolation of negative energy. One of them is, well, there's other stuff too. So cool. What do we got in chat over here? Satoshi Sean swung by for a minute. Hello, sir. Oh yeah, I wanted to say what you were talking about with the lot thing. I don't know how much work that is to put in, but it's a good idea because I know, I'm convinced it's a good idea because of some conversations I've had with Hyperion Frequency on Den about how, just number one, incentivizing lot holders to participate more consistently, but also rewarding those who choose to do so. You know what I mean? Right. So if you aren't, and I don't know if the reward goes down to 0 or if it goes down to a percentage or whatever. If you have a stagnant account, like you don't log in for a year or something like that, for the just for the lot passive reward portion. By the way, not
I would
talking about anything else.
I'm going to tell you what I would do right now, and people might hate this, but I would say per period. So your rep would be retained, right? So. If you have a good rep, and we already have the half-life stuff, and or the where bad rep can be replaced with good rep and vice versa.
That's important too,
right? Imagine if every period it's calculated, and if you and in competition with everyone else, let's say you reviewed every single one of the 150 posts. Or let's say 100, and I only evaluated one. That effectively you, by voting on all of them, it would be amazing if you were directly on that one day. You would mine, for one thing, much more than me, but linear or not, I don't know, but. That the people who don't go at all, though, so I don't show up today to go through and evaluate history layer posts, so I get zilch from all of the history lot that I have.
You'll have to explain that to me a different time. Are you talking just about the rewards from the lot, or are you talking about literally the rewards from the evaluation?
Just the rewards from the lot.
Okay.
You still would have participate as an evaluator, but my lot is worthless unless I'm participating. And the part of the mining itself would be competing with other lot holders, both for how much lot. If I have 10 times more lot and we both do the same amount of evaluation, then I get 10 times the mining. But if we both have the same amount of lot and I do 0 and you do some significant amount, then I get nothing from that lot.
Yeah, I don't know if I would be down with tying it just to evaluation though, because
it's true.
Because I don't know that I'm a terribly good evaluator. Sometimes I don't know if I don't know. Maybe some people are just better at that and want to do that. I don't know.
That is true. It could be tied to how much
I would tie it to
content or eval.
Yeah, it could be one of these three. You know what I mean? Yeah. You can either post, or you can either evaluate, or you can either participate in chat. Chat or governance. GI stuff. Basically, to have some level of like a heartbeat. Like, okay, I'm here. I'm around. I'm doing
but
stuff.
If you do all of the things, then I mean, you're going to be massively ahead of someone doing nothing or only doing one of them or whatever else. So
yeah, if you want to get way more involved like that, then that's a good point, because then there's incentive to do so. There's rewards for do so. That's proportional.
Yeah. Plus, it would, in my opinion, it would help because some of the people who might not have a whales lot would potentially see really good rewards by really participating and maintaining a community. So it's, my 100 lot could outmode your 50,000 lot because I'm actually in there every day doing all these things, right?
Yeah, right. That's a good point. Now, that wouldn't affect governance weight. Obviously, the person with the whales lot would still have the whale's share of governance decisions.
Right.
But if you have the sleepy whale that's not doing much, the little fishes get the whale's reward since they decided not to do anything that day, or that period.
It'd be awesome.
That's pretty cool. I like that. Yeah. Yeah. We're gonna have to end up writing like a we got a really thorough FAQ, but I was thinking either today or yesterday, I was even writing somewhere, I was like, we should actually do a more concise version, like a cut down user's guide, kind of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because we have both ends of the spectrum. We have the super simplified roles of a denizen slide deck.
Yes.
High level thing.
Yes.
And then we have the super intricate, like millions of pages long FAQ. All the things you might want to know about. You can be like, what does this do? What does that do? What does this do? Right?
Oh, and white paper with formulas.
Yeah, white paper with formulas. It's still 0.96. It's got some missing stuff in it. But yeah, that just came to mind.
True.
So if anybody wants to take it upon themselves to do that, hit me up. We can collaborate. Otherwise, it'll be at least next week until I do it.
I'd really like to get the code fully open sourced as well, and then just bring in devs as they want to build stuff. But we haven't had time to. There's a lot of work to do that. So,
Hyperion Frequency has a good question. Can I ask if we've been able to pin down or flag accounts that are participating in negative DEN behaviors, such as sharing links so their group can mass downvote, since it seems like what they were about? I will say that with the data that's been generated over the past several months, it's been enlightening to pull that data of like, what are the patterns that we see in the way that the behaviors are being carried out on the platform.
Yeah.
And that has gone directly into the technical design of how the mitigation, I don't know if I want to call them mitigations, how the changes to the algorithm will work.
Yep.
Now, I'm not always vague, but I want to be intentionally vague about this at the moment, just because, like, if I go out and say, here's exactly what we found, then we're not going to get as clean of a result when we're testing this stuff out. Because if somebody out there is like, oh, I'm going to go in and fuck with that because I know how they're trying to do it, I'm going to specifically, like mess with that model. It's important that when we're doing this manually, we make sure it works as cleanly as possible. So, yeah, you can see every account doing all the things is the answer.
Yeah. And I will say the one thing that we can say that won't be too vague, maybe it is vague too, would be that although it's not a 100% hit, that typically, and this is, I'll even go back to some of the past drama where people were claiming that other groups were manipulating stuff, that most of our analyses showed that the people who were being the loudest about some form of attack were actually executing that attack. They explained really well how it worked because they were doing it. So it's an interesting thing, and that's kind of been consistent. So I think it's funny.
Yeah, it is what it is. And I had something else for a second there. What was it? Oh, yes. So on the list of priorities, there is a line where in the future we will have, I'm pretty sure that the concept, without referencing it right now, the concept is for proof reports is that, and maybe it's two different parts, but I know that there's one with proof reports where you can see the results, excuse me, for a post after a certain amount of time. You can see who voted and what way they voted and stuff. And then, well, yeah, that's, I guess, the one thing I was thinking about. So in the future, I think there is agreement that we will make it to where anybody can see, like, oh, okay, these X number of accounts are always voting in this pattern. So the community itself can find that stuff.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And
so.
I would like, if there's some way, and somebody might have an idea, if there was some way to tie a bounty to that. I mean, we can definitely do something where Den would put up a bounty for proven, ill action. But if we could plug it in that theoretically, maybe mind matter, and maybe even the lore that comes in through the rewards program could be locked for a period. And so people would have an incentive to crawl through that data and identify bad action, and then could claim mind matter, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, I don't know, something like that would be.
Yeah, that's like a version of a bounty system, basically.
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Cool. Which ultimately, like long-term concept, the more things that the platform can self-manage, the more, like, right. that's where the money, like the proverbial right. money's at, right?
Yeah.
That's where it scales. That's where it's like doesn't require things like what other platforms have, which is floors upon floors, hundreds upon hundreds of humans sitting there deciding, what gets deleted, what gets to make it, what gets, that kind of thing. So decentralization, hybrid, but decent. All right, so let's see what else we got. If their payout is locked, we could also give them a chance to reform by cleaning up their act. That's good. That's an incentive both ways. You're right. It could be like, hey, you've been violating terms of service. I hate banning people, unless it's something obviously like, there's only been like one case in the past that I can think of where it's like, okay, that's obviously not okay and illegal. You have to go, and we have to figure out what happens to your account's tokens. Sorry, but other, like, it's extreme that would have to happen. So anything where, somebody broke the rules. I even thought it would be even kind of fun. I don't know if you should make it fun, a punishment, but you could banish someone to the dungeon for a particular period of time. Well, you know what I mean?
Like, I liked your idea that it would be they would have, it would be like a lair, and they would be able to post that in a place they could all see, but they couldn't see anything else.
While you're in the dungeon, you're only subscribed to that one dungeon layer. You can't subscribe to anything but the dungeon layer. Now you're in the dungeon, and if I don't know, it'd be interesting.
Well, and then people could maybe visit the dungeon and troll them or something. I don't know.
I don't know. There's something there though, like the theming is good with the dragons and the dungeons and stuff, and
I like it.
There's like the hand slap where it's like, okay, we're not just gonna like turn your account off for any little thing like other platforms do, but we will make it obvious that this is not what is, this is unwanted behavior. Is the nice way to put it, I guess. Yep. So all kinds of things like that could definitely.
And they generate antimatter. Maybe they mine antimatter.
Oh yeah,
nice. I don't know. Okay.
Oh, that would be well. Then they just wouldn't talk in the dungeon there. But the antimatter thing is interesting too, because that can be a multiplier kind of thing, based on that kind of thing. All kinds of cool stuff there. But first, But first, we equalize the playing field for all denizens by cleaning up some of the unanticipated or unwanted effects of the existing behavior. Speaking of behavior of the algorithm. Kind of thing.
Yeah.
Cool.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So those are the things this week, governance-wise. Congratulations again to everybody who's going to get some Matter and Lore payouts. Thank you so very much for earning those through your behavior. That's very much appreciated. Let's see. Just making sure we're not missing anything. Let me refresh to make sure I don't have any more replies here. Cool. So let's go through a couple of reminders. What goes on Den every week? We've got Tuesday is Super Happy Dragon Lucky. Wednesday is Coffee with Den. Thursday is World Blockchain Roundtable. All of those have things that you can do to earn ownership of the layer that they exist in, and to be rewarded and to direct the show. For World Blockchain Roundtable and Super Happy Dragon Lucky, you can submit questions. World Blockchain, it depends on the theme every week, which changes. So you can put in questions that you want the host to talk about. We usually have a pretty diverse, if not, I guess, rotating, and it's awesome. And there's a variety of personalities and diverse backgrounds. And so, yeah, you get input from all angles, from lots of different angles anyway. So submit questions for World Blockchain Roundtable based on next week's theme is Web3 integrations, is what we're going to be talking about. We did personalized identity on blockchain today. So go put questions into that when you see it pop up. For Super Happy, there is an AMA section where you can put questions about Dragon Chain and about Den. That's where Joe is going to be giving updates every week. And we'll go through at least the top 3, if not once a month, doing a full AMA. So that's where you can get your questions officially fielded for Dragon Chain and Den.Social. On Wednesday, Coffee with Den. Wednesday morning, 9 a.m. over in the Coffee with Den layer, I do a casual morning show that comically is billed for 1 hour. And then we always go over because we just keep talking about stuff. Probably because during the first hour, we're still waking up. And then once we're caffeinated, we roll on with it. Those are, 9 a.m. Eastern every Wednesday. And I hand out ownership and I'll reward with Matter for replies and questions and topics on that too. And then this show is every now on today. So we do 3 p.m. Eastern on Thursdays, pretty soon after World Blockchain Roundtable. And I know that at least, let's see, Coffee Show and this meeting are both open to the public, where there's a link to join. And the rest of them are open for questions. So participation earns rewards. Other than that, cool. Let's see. Is there anything else we're thinking right now?
Nope, I think we're good.
Yeah, I think so too. Thanks for joining. Thanks for the top 5 and the top 10 and the top everybody in those 2 categories for the Million Matter Mint. We got 1 million Matter out there, 1 million of them. But there's only 1,000 of them every day. So go do all the things. All right, that's all I've got. Joe, Greg, thank you for joining. Greg, do you want to say anything about you've been muted for a while. I don't even know if you're still here. You want to say anything on the way out? All right, cool. So we'll see you next week. Have a great weekend.
Thanks, guys.
And we'll see you around. Adios.
All right. Bye.
Because that goal will serve to organize and measure the best.
adaptable, all capital, label radical yet rational. A tactical approach is palpable if this animal is fallible, but that conclusion is laughable. So with for all detachable from the mandible, you see it now.